Continue.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, good evening. I'd like to introduce Dominic Accurso, the city's finance director, to begin the presentation of the 2022 fiscal year audit.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So I would like to introduce Ms. Emily Sheldon. She is an audit manager with BT & Company. She's going to report the draft audit report for the 2022 fiscal year. Before I turn it over to Emily, I did want to just say thank you to Senior Accountant Robert Daniels. He does a huge amount of work on this. All city staff, we all put it truly is a group effort, and to also the staff of BT & Company. So with that, Emily.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emily Sheldon. I am a manager with BT & Co. on the City of Gladstone's audit. You have received a draft letter addressed to the Mayor and City Council. The letter summarizes matters that we are required to bring to your attention about the financial statement audit. For my presentation this evening, I'll be going through the key points in that letter. In that letter, we address our responsibility to perform an audit in accordance with specific accounting standards. Those standards require us to perform procedures to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatement. Our procedures include examining, on a test basis, evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. We also assess accounting principles used and the significant estimates made by management, as well as evaluating the overall financial statement presentation. I am pleased to report that as a result of our audit, we determined that the fiscal year 2022 financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. And when we finalize the audit, we will issue an unmodified audit opinion, which is the best kind of opinion that the city can receive. In the letter, we bring to your attention anything identified in the procedures we performed relating to significant alternative, adopted, changed, or controversial accounting policies, significant accounting policies in emerging areas, or significant unusual transactions. During the fiscal year, the city did adopt GASB Statement Number 87, Leases, which increases the usefulness of government's financial statements by requiring recognition of certain lease assets and liabilities for leases that were previously classified as operating leases. The city has several significant estimates that are summarized in the summary of significant accounting estimates in the report. Those include the total OPEB liability, net pension asset, fair value of investments, as well as the lease assets and liabilities as a result of the new standard. Our responsibility as auditors is to analyze the processes that the city has in place to record those estimates. And as a result of our work, we concluded that the city's estimates do appear reasonable. Audit adjusting entries were recorded as a result of the audit. These adjusting journal entries were predominantly what we call entity-wide adjusting entries. They are standard entries prepared solely to convert the city's fund-level financial statements to entity-wide financial statements. I would also like to inform City Council that during our audit, city management and staff were helpful, responsive, and transparent with our team members, and we encountered no disagreements, significant issues, or difficulties in performing the audit. Finally, we have included a copy of management's representation letter. This letter is the final step in the audit process and puts into writing matters that are required by our standards to be represented to us by management. The signing of this letter is an indication that the audit report is ready to be finalized. We provide this letter to you because we believe it will help you as a governing body better understand the city's representations about its financial statements and help you fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities. The achievement of an excellent audit result, such as the city's, is a testament to both the city's preparedness for its audit, as well as maintaining good processes and controls throughout the entire year. As such, I'd like to thank Dominic, Robert, and the rest of the city staff for their assistance. With that, are there any questions?
Thank you. Any questions, comments? None?
Thank you.
Thank you. A good audit report is always welcome. It's key to our transparency, so appreciate your work and the good report. Thank you. And we're back on time. So we'll take a brief break and start the regular meeting at 7:30. Right. Evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the December 12th, 2022 regular meeting of the Gladstone City Council and call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, all members of the City Council are present and we have a quorum. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item is the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. We have a relatively short agenda this evening with board and commission appointments and 2 ordinances for our consideration. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda for tonight? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. We'll move on to item 5, approval of the minutes from the November 28th, 2022 closed City Council meeting.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Mallon.
I move to approve the minutes from the November 28th, 2022 closed City Council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the November 28th, 2022 closed City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are hereby approved. Item 7 is approval of the minutes from the November 28th, 2022 regular City Council meeting.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Mallon.
I move to approve the minutes from the November 28th, 2022 regular City Council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the November 28th, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The minutes are hereby approved. Item 7. Now we'll move on to the fun things. Recognition to the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd for the planting of trees in city parks. Father Galen, please.
All right. Thank you very much, esteemed members of the City of Gladstone and the Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. So the Episcopal Church USA every 3 years has a triennial meeting, and in 2019 they approved resolutions that substantively gave support to the Paris Grove Agreement about fighting climate change. It also left it up to individual dioceses, of which in the Episcopal Church, you're in the Diocese of West Missouri, and individual churches to find ways to address climate change and, in a sense, add to greening of our areas. And some research has been done. If we could just plant a little over 1 billion trees globally, that would take care of a lot of the pollution that's put out by automobiles and other vehicles. So I think it's been a couple years ago, we presented the City of Gladstone with checks through the help of Justin Murky. He's been wonderful to work with in some of the parks. And then we had the pandemic. So, but we're back this year, and so on behalf of the Episcopal Church at the Good Shepherd at 4947 Northeast Shoto Drive, we are glad to present a $1,500 check to the City of Gladstone to use as they feel necessary with Justin Murky's recommendations for the planting of trees, shrubs, or native grasses to help fight global warming, climate change, and really beautify a city and add value to any park or urban area that needs improvements.
Father, thank you so much. I remember when you were here once before and we had this, and I remember it was very exciting then. We don't often get a dedicated donation for something like that, and I know it was a big deal for the folks in parks to be able to utilize that. So
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I don't know who I should leave this with, Mayor.
There you go. Justin's on it.
Thank you, Father.
Our hope is to continue that, and even if as the pandemic continues, I think we're working around it, as we all know. Our goal is to do this again next year.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Father.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. We'll move on to item 8, communications from the audience. Is there any member of the audience who would like to address City Council on a matter that is not on this evening's agenda? If not, we'll move on to item 9, communications from City Council. Councilman Smith. Councilmember Spallo.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to say thank you to all city staff, members of our city council, who participated at the Northland Christmas store this year as volunteers. We had an outstanding year and served 208 families, many of them from the Gladstone area. And without the assistance of so many of our associates and city council members, we would not be able to put on the Northland Christmas store. So thank you so much for all your support. And, you know, just the city as a whole is a huge supporter of the Christmas store, and especially through the Parks and Recreation Department with the 5K run, the Scarecrow 5K, and also the Halloween event out at Happy Rock where they collect canned goods and whatnot. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Mallons.
I just want to thank Tina for, she is one of the chairpersons for the Northland Christmas store, and what you do to reach out to help families and kids, it's monumental. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. This will be our only meeting for December, so we won't be back here again until 2023. So Merry Christmas to everyone and Happy New Year.
Thank you. It's my pleasure at this point to talk about board and commission appointments. As you know, the City of Gladstone has 9 different boards and commissions, each of them with a different focus, different terms, and different eligibility requirements. Each year we have a number of people whose terms have been completed but who would like to be reappointed. We also have people that move or sometimes for whatever reasons are not able to serve any longer. So every year we seek to make those reappointments and fill vacancies on our boards and commissions. Last month, City Council conducted interviews over the course of 2 days for people who had stepped forward and volunteered to serve on one of our boards and commissions. It's always very rewarding to meet the people who step forward because they just want to help their community. It's also a challenge every year trying to fit everyone into board and commissions that align with their specific interests and backgrounds. It's always difficult to get all the pieces to fit. I remember we had one year where we had, I think, mostly vacancies in the Arts Commission. We had a lot of good candidates, but none of them were interested in the arts. So we're always trying to get people involved with the areas that they have the most experience and interest in, and sometimes we're successful. City Council relies very heavily on its boards and commissions. Most of the major issues go through boards and commissions for discussion and deliberation before they come to City Council with their recommendation. So the following is the proposed list of reappointments and new appointments for our boards and commissions, after which I'd entertain a motion to approve the appointments. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol, now would be the time to play it. For Arts Commission, reappointment of G.K. Callahan, Chad Pio, and Sarah Day for terms expiring in December 2025. Board of Zoning Adjustment, the reappointment of Michael Ho, and the new appointment of Taylor Sherrill for terms expiring in December 2027. Capital Improvements Program, the reappointment of Ron Guglielmino, and new appointment of Greg Strasser for terms expiring in December 2025. And a new appointment of Bob Wilson for a term expiring in December 2023. Code Board of Appeals, the reappointment of Robert Frank and Charles Logan for terms expiring in December 2025. Environmental Management Advisory Committee, the reappointment of Gary Schmedley and Larry Thrasher for terms expiring in December 2025. On the Neighborhood Commission, the reappointment of D.D. Zimmerman and a new appointment of Dan Green for terms expiring in December 2025. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Emily Lenhausen, Jim Olszewski, and Ashlyn Stone, and new appointments of Julie Beamer and Andrea Johnson for terms expiring in December 2025. Planning Commission, we have the reappointment of Chase Cookson, Spencer Davis, Jennifer McGee, and James New for terms expiring in December 2026, and a new appointment of Steve Beamer for a term expiring in December 2025, and a new appointment of Cameron Nave for a term expiring in December 2023. Finally, Tax Increment Financing Commission with the reappointment of Sharon Euler and Pete Hall for terms expiring in December 2026. Is there a motion to accept the Board and Commission appointments as presented?
Mayor Garnos,
Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
I move to accept the appointments as read.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Board and Commission appointments as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Board and Commission appointments as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Board and Commission appointments are hereby approved. I know several of our appointments are here this evening, so if you were on the list of reappointments or new appointments, would you please stand so that we can recognize you? All right. So to all our Board and Commission members, thank you for stepping forward to help your community. At one of our council meetings next month, we plan to recognize the outgoing and retiring Board and Commission members and thanking them for their past service. I would also mention that as a result of our interviews, City Council is currently taking a closer look at the Neighborhood Commission. This is a group with a very important mission, and we're looking at ways that we can improve their ability to support and communicate issues among the different neighborhood associations and homeowners associations in Gladstone. So we'll be looking at maybe a little bit of a mission change for that group, but we didn't want to rush it before the appointment. So we are going to be looking at that in the new year. And that's all I have. We'll move on to item 10 on the agenda, communications from the city manager. Mr. Wingerson, anything new happening in your life you'd like to share?
Thank you, Mayor, for that opportunity. I appreciate that, as always. City Hall will be closed on December 26th and January 2nd in response to the holidays. And I'd just like to wish everybody, City Council, the public, businesses, leadership team, and staff, safe and happy holidays.
Thank you. Item 11 is the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, would you please explain and read the consent agenda?
A consent agenda allows the City Council to consider and approve routine items of business without discussion. Any member of the City Council, the city staff, or the public may request removal of any item from the consent agenda and request that it be considered under the regular agenda if discussion or debate of the item is desired. Items not removed from the consent agenda will stand approved upon motion by any council member, second and unanimous vote to approve the consent agenda as published or modified. Consent agenda. Consider building permit, St. Andrew's Catholic Church, 6415 Northeast Antioch Road. Resolution R-22-63, a resolution authorizing change order number 2 in the amount of $54,643.95 to the contract with Nationwide Turf Installation for Happy Rock Park Trail Replacement, Project CP2358C.
Thank you. Does any member of the audience request the removal of any item from the consent agenda for discussion? City Council? Mr. City Manager?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
Mayor Garnos,
Councilman Smith.
move we approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as listed. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as listed, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next item is the first reading of Bill number 22-41, an ordinance authorizing the execution of certain documents related to a project previously financed by the city under Article 6, Section 27 of the Missouri Constitution, and Sections 100.010 to 100.200 of the revised statutes of Missouri, and authorizing the execution of certain documents and taking of certain actions in connection therewith. That doesn't sound like it was written by an attorney.
No. Mayor Garnos,
Council Member Spallo.
I move to place bill number 22-41 on its first reading.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to place bill number 22-41 on its first reading. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of placing bill number 22-41 on its first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
First reading Bill Number 22-41, an ordinance authorizing the execution of certain documents related to a project previously financed by the city under Article 6, Section 27 of the Missouri Constitution and Sections 100.010 to 100.200 of the revised statutes of Missouri, and authorizing the execution of certain documents and taking of certain actions in connection therewith.
Mayor Garnos.
Councilmember Spallo.
I move to accept the first reading of Bill Number 22-41, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the first reading of Bill Number 22-41, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of placing Bill Number 22-41 on its second and final reading, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
Second reading Bill Number 22-41, an ordinance authorizing the execution of certain documents related to a project previously financed by the city under Article 6, Section 27 of the Missouri Constitution and Sections 100.010 to 100.200 of the revised statutes of Missouri, and authorizing the execution of certain documents and taking of certain actions in connection therewith.
Mayor Garnos.
Councilmember Spallo.
I move to accept the second and final reading of Bill Number 22-41 and enact it as ordinance number 4.617.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the second and final reading of Bill Number 22-41 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.617. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Spallo?
Aye.
Councilman Malams?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Aye.
Mayor Garnis.
Aye. Bill Number 22-41 stands enacted as ordinance number 4.617. We'll move on to item 13, the first reading of Bill Number 22-42, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a cooperative agreement with Clay County, Missouri, the city of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, the city of Liberty, Missouri, the city of Kearney, Missouri, the city of North Kansas City, Missouri, and the city of Smithville, Missouri, for Replica Incorporated subscription service access.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Malams.
I move to place Bill Number 22-42 on its first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to place Bill Number 22-42 on its first reading. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of placing Bill Number 22-42 on its first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
First reading Bill Number 22-42, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a cooperative agreement with Clay County, Missouri, the city of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, the city of Liberty, Missouri, the city of Kearney, Missouri, the city of North Kansas City, Missouri, and the city of Smithville, Missouri for Replica, Inc. subscription service access.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Malams.
I move to accept the first reading of Bill Number 22-42, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the first reading of Bill Number 22-42, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of placing Bill Number 22-42 on its second and final reading, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill again.
Second reading Bill Number 22-42, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a cooperative agreement with Clay County, Missouri, the city of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, the city of Liberty, Missouri, the city of Kearney, Missouri, the city of North Kansas City, Missouri, and the city of Smithville, Missouri for Replica, Inc. subscription service access.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Malams.
I move to accept the second and final reading of Bill Number 22-42 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.618.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the second and final reading of Bill Number 22-42 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.618. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Spallo?
Aye.
Councilman Malams?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Aye.
Mayor Garnis.
Aye. Bill Number 22-42 stands enacted as ordinance number 4.618. Item 14, other business. Is there any other business for City Council this evening? If not, we will reconvene our next regular meeting in 4 weeks on January 9th. We are adjourned.
See you next year.